Expert Talk is sponsored by Pod Nation TV, the podcast to broadcast network.
Yep. You heard me right before the break. We're going to talk about keeping up with the digital Joneses. The Joneses have even gone digital. What's up with that, y'all? Hey, Darlene, are you out there?
I'm here, Tigo. Hello.
How are you? It's March. What do they say? In like a lion, out like a lamb. Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about this Joneses thing. You know, when I was a kid, my dad always wanted to keep up with the virtual, the Joneses. So-and-so got a new car. He wanted a new car. So-and-so got a new dining room table. We got a new dining room table. Keep up with the Joneses, And now you're telling me they've gone digital?
They've gone digital, Tigo. People are continuously watching what everybody else is doing, especially as entrepreneurs in the online space. It's really easy now to be paying attention to what everybody else is doing and get so focused on watching what others are doing that we kind of start to lose ourselves in that process. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation today, because it's okay to keep up with the Joneses in some ways, but when it comes to building an online business, it's actually not recommended to pay too close of attention to what your competition, I'll use that word kind of lightly and I'll do some air quotes because I don't know that I believe in competition, because there's so many reasons why people will buy from us individually by sharing our story and showing up as our true authentic self, and people are going to connect with the people that they're going to connect with. And not everybody's for me. I'm trying to attract the right dream clients to me. And I'm also repelling the ones that are not the right fit, because I'm sharing my story. I'm speaking up and sharing about the matters that mean the most to me. And I'm not afraid to tell people what my values are and what is important. And that's going to set me apart from what everybody else is doing. But I know you see this, Tigo. People are constantly talking about what other online entrepreneurs are doing. And so-and-so's doing this. Should I be doing this as well? And my answer always is absolutely not. Or maybe if it's the right thing for you.
It's like so-and-so comes out with a challenge, and then all of a sudden everybody's doing a challenge. So-and-so does a summit. Everybody's doing a summit. Oh, they changed their logo. They added more yellow to their logo. Now their logo's changing. It's like, would you stop that? Because people can't find you because you keep shifting. You keep shifting, and no, they don't know. It's like we've had this show on now for a little over 2 years. Wow. A little over 2 years. We're 300 episodes in by now. And it's like this little diamond is simple, but everybody knows it, and I'm not changing it. I refuse to try to keep up with the Joneses. I think you lose your way. I think you get stuck on the path and you don't move forward. You just keep being like a rodent on a wheel.
Yeah. Well, the thing we're trying to do is we're trying to separate ourselves from the competition.
Yeah.
And when we're following and doing what everybody else is doing, that's actually pulling us into, we all seem the same. We're all vanilla. We need to be different. We need to set ourselves apart. We need to be the mocha almond fudge or the mint chocolate chip, not the vanilla ice cream. And I think the reason that we do this, and I don't know about you, Tigo, but when I think back to high school, I worked really hard to blend in and be like everybody else and go with the flow. And I didn't want to be noticed and to stand out. And then when I became an entrepreneur, I had to flip that model completely upside down on its head. And I had to position myself differently. I had to start sharing my story and being myself. And, I joke sometimes that even when I started my business and I was going to my first networking events, when I went through business coach training, everybody was wearing business suits and carrying leather briefcases and the little notebooks and stuff. And so that's what I was doing. And I found really quickly that I never felt like myself. I felt like a little girl playing dress up in her mom's closet, but I didn't feel like Darlene. And so when I started to identify those things and strip those layers back and started dressing what made me feel comfortable and in a way that lit me up going out. And when I started, speaking and sharing my stories and my messaging in the way that lit me up, I started to grow my business. But in the beginning, I was a sea of the sameness because we were all doing the exact same thing. We all look the same. We talk the same. And now that's how I support my clients, is finding out what's unique about you. What's your story? What's your message? How do you like to show up? Like, one of my clients that I was talking to recently came to me, and she was having trouble getting consistent clients in her business. And so we were looking at some of her visibility strategies and how she was showing up. And she was doing things that she didn't enjoy doing. She personally did not love seeing herself on camera. And I encouraged her to start working on it and to get better at that, because video is definitely the way of the ages that we're going, and it's a huge platform. But for her, we identified that she loved to talk and she loved to share stories. She just didn't love the video aspect to it. So she started putting herself out on some podcasts and sharing her message, and she's starting to get traction again in her business and actually pulling in people. And the reason for her that it works is she was getting in her head on video right now. Like, she's still working on it, but she was getting in her head so much that she wasn't able to grow her business because she was not showing up as herself. She was nervous. She was, getting flustered. Yeah. But when she went audio and went podcast, she was lit up. She was so excited to have these conversations. She was sharing herself and really drawing people in. So I always encourage, like, find what works for you and do that. Just because somebody else in your industry is doing video does not mean you have to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to if it's not what is going to light you up.
No, I totally agree. And, people out there, some people are just not creative, and they're not like original thinkers. They see something and go, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. And they see something and go, oh, that's a great idea. And, the light bulbs are behind us. Great ideas. They come up with this all the time. And they feel like, I know I shouldn't be playing the digital Joneses. I shouldn't be trying to keep up with the Joneses, but I don't have an idea of what I really, really want to do for the next step of my business. And in my opinion, it's not about keeping up with the Joneses. At that point, when you're stuck, I'm talking to y'all out there, when you are stuck and you can't figure out where to go next, don't copy the guy next door to you. It didn't work in elementary school. It's not going to work now. Call somebody like Darlene. This is their job. They'll help you find your original voice, who you are, your authentic message, and reach your right fit client. Am I right?
Yep, absolutely. And there's something to be said about that shiny object syndrome, right? Like, we see these shiny objects, or keeping up with the digital Joneses. We see these things and it feels like it should be the right thing. Like, well, if so-and-so is doing this and it looks like they're successful doing it, then I should do it too. But in reality, we don't even know if they're being successful at it. They might look like they're successful, but is it really working? We don't know.
Yeah, there's a ton
of online influencers who have millions and thousands to millions of followers, and they look like they're doing tons of things. But I've been on the backside of some of those really high numbered visibility influencers, and they have a lot of followers, they have a lot of influence, but they're not actually making a ton of money in their business. And
it's like
the strategy might not be working, and if it's not working for them and they're excited about doing it, and you try to do it and it's not even exciting you, and you're showing up trying to emulate what they're doing, it may or may not work for you.
No, I totally get that. I absolutely get that. And I want people to know, you got to be you. And now is the time, now is the time to be you, because the status quo doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. You've got multimillionaire entrepreneurs that are grandmothers that are making cookies for their grandkids on the weekends. Wait a minute. I did that this past weekend. Okay, we won't talk about that. But that's, what they're doing. You've got people that this is their second and third career, because they were already successful in the first two, and now they're ready to branch out on their own. So there's so many avenues out there. And before we go to church here, tell them how to find you, because our producer will cut you off.
Be cutting us off. Yeah, we want to stop the comparisonitis. We want to reclaim our voice and start showing up as our true authentic self. You can find me at darlenehawley.com, or you can head over to LinkedIn, where I love to hang out these days. Just find me at Darlene Hawley, and I'd love to connect. Send me a message. Let's find out what's working for you, what's not. And let's start showing up, sharing our story, and build a really profitable personal brand that's going to make you money, so that you can do the things that you love and give back to your community and start speaking up for the matters that are true and matter the most to you.
Awesome. And you guys know that all our VIP experts are inside Tigo Direct. It costs you nothing. Just go over there, type in Darlene. She'll pop up because she's our branding expert and she don't play. I want to thank you so much for being on. This has been so much fun. You are the absolute best. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tigo. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, I hope you'll come back next time. And right now, that looks like tomorrow. And you know who I am. I'm Tigo. I'll talk to you next time.